You're listening to the Spirit Podcast.
Hello, spirits and seekers of the strange. Welcome back to the Spirit. I'm your guide, Peter, and in today's episode, we're venturing deep into the Caribbean, a region rich in vibrant culture, history, and dark mystery. If you've ever felt the pull of the mystical, the eerie, or the supernatural, you've likely heard of voodoo. But today, we're not just talking about the rituals, the symbols, or the practitioners. We're diving into the haunted places and cursed sites where voodoo's power is said to live on. Get ready, because this journey will take you to the heart of some of the Caribbean's most chilling voodoo haunts. You won't want to miss this one. Our first stop brings us to the island of Haiti, known as the birthplace of voodoo. Haiti's voodoo temple of Saint Domingue is a place of great power and even greater fear. It's here that the practice of voodoo was born and the spirits still linger. Locals speak of an ancient temple hidden deep in the jungle where rituals are performed to call upon the Loa, the spirits that guide and protect, but also punish those who cross them. This temple is shrouded in mystery and dark legend. Now, what makes this place especially haunting is the belief that the spirits of the ancestors are said to never leave the temple grounds. If you listen closely at night, you may hear the drums, the steady hypnotic beat that draws people in. But once you're there, it's not always so easy to leave. Many who have ventured into this jungle temple claim to have heard voices calling their names, even when no one was around. Some say it's the spirits of those who once performed the sacred rituals, trapped in the temple for eternity. And let's not forget about the black magic rituals performed under the cover of darkness, ones that are said to curse anyone who dares to disturb the sacred site. Now, let's journey to the heart of voodoo itself, Port-au-Prince, Haiti. This vibrant city is not just the capital of Haiti, but also the birthplace of voodoo, where the ancient and powerful spirits are said to walk among the living. Haiti is a land rich in voodoo traditions, steeped in both light and dark magic, and it's here that we'll explore one of the most chilling figures in voodoo, Baron Samedi, the god of death. Baron Samedi is one of the most famous and feared Loa, the spirits or gods worshipped in the voodoo religion. He rules over the dead and governs the boundaries between life and death. His image is unmistakable, a man with a skull for a face, wearing a top hat, a black suit, often depicted with sunglasses, a cigarette, and a wicked grin. To the living, he represents death, decay, and the inevitable end of life. But to the dead, he is a powerful protector, a guide to the afterlife. In Port-au-Prince, you can find shrines dedicated to Baron Samedi hidden throughout the city, often in remote, quiet corners tucked away from the bustling streets. People leave offerings of rum, cigars, and black candles to appease him. But it's not just in the city that his influence is felt. Some believe his power spreads across the island, especially in the mountains and forests surrounding Port-au-Prince. where ancient rituals are still practiced. The legend of Baron Samedi is as terrifying as it is captivating. In the traditional voodoo practice, it is said that Baron Samedi has the ability to raise the dead and command legions of spirits. He is the one who escorts souls from this world to the afterlife, but he is also known for his mischief and dark humor. It is said that he loves to play pranks on the living, often leading them into dangerous situations. If you encounter him on your travels in Haiti, be prepared to make an offering, or else he might just claim you for himself. Perhaps the most chilling aspect of Baron Samedi's power is the belief that he can curse those who disrespect the spirits or refuse to honor the dead properly. Locals in Port-au-Prince still tell stories of people who have come face to face with his spirit only to be cursed by his dark magic. It is said that these people often experience strange illnesses, terrible misfortunes, or worse, mysterious deaths. One particularly chilling tale comes from a local Haitian family who had recently moved to Port-au-Prince. They were warned not to disturb the local voodoo shrines, but one evening, a curious relative decided to visit one on their own. What followed was nothing short of terrifying. Within days, members of the family began to fall ill, suffering from an illness that no doctor could explain. It wasn't until the family visited a voodoo priest that they realized the truth. They had angered Baron Samedi. The family was forced to offer ritual sacrifices to the god of death in order to break the curse, but not all of them survived the ordeal. The temples dedicated to Baron Samedi around Port-au-Prince are known to be especially powerful, with many of them said to be haunted by the spirits of the dead. It is believed that the spirits linger there, seeking to cross over to the afterlife, but are held back by the power of Baron Samedi. Some say you can feel a heavy presence in these places, an oppressive energy that settles in the air, thick and suffocating. It is almost as if the dead are watching you, waiting for you to slip up, to make an offering or risk being taken into their realm. So, what do we take away from the legends of Port-au-Prince and its voodoo shrines? It's clear that the spirits of the dead and the god of death himself have a presence here like no other. If you find yourself in Haiti, remember, there are places where the boundary between life and death is thin, and some spirits don't take kindly to being disturbed. Next, we head to the lush, mountainous island of Dominica, where the old sugar plantations still haunt the landscape. Dominica is known for its rugged beauty, rich culture, and a history shaped by both colonialism and the blending of African, European, and indigenous beliefs. But not all that glitters on this island is bright. In fact, one plantation in particular has become a symbol of both the island's dark history and its connection to the voodoo religion. The Haunted Plantation is notorious for its gruesome past. During the colonial era, enslaved individuals were forced to work the land under brutal conditions. In fact, their suffering is believed to have left a powerful, spiritual imprint on the area. This plantation was home to countless ceremonies, and many believe the land holds deep, dark power, often linked to rituals meant to summon the Loa of Death, Baron Samedi, and other powerful spirits of the underworld. Today, the abandoned plantation house stands as a reminder of this tortured history. Visitors to the plantation report seeing flickering lights in the windows, even though the mansion has been long empty. Some claim to hear unexplainable footsteps echoing across the overgrown grounds, and there are those who swear they've felt a heavy presence watching them as they walk the eerie halls. But the most chilling of all is the sound of weeping spirits. Locals believe these mournful cries come from the souls of the enslaved individuals who perished on the plantation. Souls caught between this world and the next, still trapped by the trauma of their lives. These spirits are said to appear to travelers who wander too far into the jungle that surrounds the plantation. Some say they are faces twisted in sorrow and rage, while others claim to hear their desperate cries for release. Some even believe the spirits are simply warning outsiders of the cursed land they are treading on. And yet, the haunted plantation is not the only thing haunting Dominica. There's a legend that adds another terrifying layer to the island's supernatural reputation. In the deep forests of Dominica, and in certain regions near the plantation, many speak of a fearsome figure, the Diablesse. Diablesse, or the Devil Woman, is one of the most feared and elusive spirits in Caribbean folklore, particularly in Dominica. She is described as a beautiful woman, but one with a terrifying, otherworldly twist. She wears a wide-brimmed hat and a long, colorful dress to conceal her cloven hooves, which are her most telling feature. The story goes that she walks the roads at night, luring unsuspecting men with her beauty, her charm, and the promise of companionship. But there's a deadly price to her allure. Once a man becomes captivated by her beauty and follows her into the wilderness, he finds that it's too late. Her true form is revealed. The cloven hooves hidden beneath the long skirts are a dead giveaway. The unfortunate victim, realizing the deception, is often lost forever, whether driven to madness, killed, or led to an untimely death in the wilderness. There are even tales of men who disappear entirely, only to be found days later, stripped of their flesh, the only trace being deep hoofprints in the mud. The stories of La Diablesse have been passed down for generations in Dominica, and the locals swear that her presence can still be felt today. Travelers who have wandered too far into the jungle at night claim to have seen her figure on the path, her silhouette barely visible in the moonlight. And as the legend goes, it's impossible to escape once you've seen her eyes. Those piercing, hypnotic eyes. Some say that La Diablesse is not only seeking to trap the souls of the living, but that she's searching for someone who, after encountering her, will fall under her spell and become one of her victims forever. To make matters worse, the haunted plantation's dark past is said to be closely linked to La Diablesse. It's believed that the spirit of this demonic woman haunts the land, drawn to the suffering of the enslaved people who once worked there. Some say she was a powerful woman who lived on the plantation during the colonial era, practicing black magic. When she died, her malevolent spirit became bound to the area, continuing her hunt for those who dare to enter the plantation's cursed grounds. Both the Haunted Plantation and the Tale of La Diablesse are tied to Dominica's rich and dark folklore, blending the island's brutal history with the chilling supernatural forces that have taken root in the land. Whether it's the weeping spirits of the enslaved or the seductive, deadly figure of La Diablesse, Dominica holds a powerful energy, a dark energy that many fear will never truly fade. Visitors who wander too far into these haunted corners of Dominica may never return the same, if they return at all. The spirits of the past are still lingering, and the cursed land continues to hold its grip on anyone brave or foolish enough to challenge it. Next, we head to the beautiful island of St. Lucia, and more specifically, to the town of Vieux Fort, a place steeped in history, mystery, and dark magic. While St. Lucia is known for its stunning landscapes and vibrant culture, there's a darker side to this island that few speak of openly. Here, in the southernmost part of St. Lucia, the practice of Obe has long been intertwined with the island's history, and it has earned a reputation for its power to heal, protect, and as some would say, curse. Obe is an Afro-Caribbean spiritual system rooted in African traditions, but it has evolved over the centuries into something both revered and feared across the Caribbean. In Vieux Fort, Obe practitioners, known as Obemen and Obe women, have been known to perform powerful rituals using herbs, charms, and ancient spells to influence the physical and spiritual world around them. But while some view Obe as a source of healing and guidance, others fear the dark power that can come from it. Many locals tell chilling stories of how Obe has been used for both good and evil, to heal a sick child or to curse an enemy. But it's in the remote corners of Vieux Fort where the old traditions still linger, and the practice of Obe takes on its most sinister form. The town's history is fraught with tales of revenge, betrayal, and curses cast on those who have wronged others. For generations, Obemen have been known to summon spirits and harness dark forces, leaving those they target to suffer from misfortune, illness, or even death. In Vieux Fort, there are places that are said to be cursed, especially abandoned plantations and old graveyards on the outskirts of town. Locals believe that these cursed sites are where Obe practitioners once carried out rituals that involved invoking spirits, making pacts with the dead, and casting powerful spells. Some of these spots are believed to be haunted with ghostly figures appearing in the night, spirits of those who were either sacrificed or trapped in the rituals performed there. One particular site in Vieux Fort is notorious for its haunting presence. An old plantation house abandoned for decades, where it is said that the last Obe practitioner of the area performed his final, most dangerous ritual before mysteriously disappearing. Legend has it that before his death, he was said to have made a pact with a demonic spirit, offering his soul in exchange for unimaginable power. The house, which still stands today, is said to be cursed. Those who have dared to enter report feeling an oppressive, suffocating energy that pushes them out. Some claim to have seen strange symbols drawn on the walls, and others report hearing whispers, voices from beyond the grave, calling them closer. The practice of obe was once illegal in many Caribbean islands, including St. Lucia, due to its association with witchcraft and dark magic. Even today, some of the older generations in Vieux-Fort still refuse to speak of it, fearful that discussing the practices might invite bad luck, or worse, invoke the wrath of the spirits who still linger in the land. And while many of the obe rituals are secretive by nature, some still happen under the cover of darkness. It is said that if you wander the town at night, you might see shadowy figures in the distance performing secret ceremonies near the edge of the forests or by the old plantation houses. If you're unfortunate enough to witness one of these rituals, it is believed that you could easily become the next target of an obe curse. Spirits bound to follow you, bringing misfortune until the curse is broken. So whether you visit for the beauty of St. Lucia or the vibrant culture, just remember, there are places, even in this tropical paradise, where the boundary between the living and the dead blurs, and the spirits of obe are never far from the surface. Vieux-Fort is a land of powerful energy, both good and evil. And you never know when you might stumble across the hidden power of the obe practitioners, still lingering in the shadows.
Hey, Spirit Seekers! Enjoying the show? Make sure to like, follow, and subscribe to the Spirit. If you could you leave us a review on Apple or Spotify and share the love? We drop a new video every week over on our YouTube channel, covering paranormal, conspiracy, high strangeness, and more. Have questions or you want to share your own spooky story? Drop us a line at tothespiritpod@gmail.com. Stay spirited.
Now we travel to the beautiful island of Jamaica. Known for its stunning beaches, lively music scene, and also home to the Voodoo caves in the interior of the island. Deep in the heart of Jamaica's Blue Mountains, a series of caves have long been associated with voodoo practices. The caves, tucked away in dense, misty forests, are where some of the island's most potent rituals are believed to have been performed in secret. Locals speak of these caves as being both sacred and cursed. It's here that ancient spells were cast, and it is said that those who venture too close can feel the oppressive energy that hangs in the air. Some say the caves are home to the spirits of former practitioners who still protect the sacred spaces, sometimes with violent consequences. Travelers have reported feeling inexplicably drawn to the caves, unable to leave once they've entered. Even more disturbing are the tales of people who claim to have seen shadowy figures watching them from the cave's dark recesses, figures who only vanish when the sun rises. Next, let's head to the lively island of Barbados, and more specifically to its capital, Bridgetown. This vibrant city, full of beautiful beaches, rich history, and stunning colonial architecture, hides a darker side within its streets and shadowed corners. In Barbados, as in many parts of the Caribbean, the belief in spirits and the supernatural is deeply rooted in folklore, and one of the most feared entities here is the duppy. A duppy, sometimes referred to as a ghost or spirit, is a malevolent entity believed to be the spirit of someone who has passed away. Unlike peaceful spirits, duppies are known for their evil nature, often returning from the afterlife to wreak havoc on the living. In Barbados, these restless souls are seen as vengeful beings that torment the living, haunting houses, roads, and even entire neighborhoods. Locals in Bridgetown and throughout the island believe that duppies are not simply ghosts. They are spirits that did not find peace after death, either because they were wronged in life or their bodies were not properly cared for or buried. The result? These spirits became dangerous, capable of causing harm or misfortune to those unlucky enough to cross their path. In fact, one of the most famous stories in Barbadian folklore is that of the Duppy Walks. The Duppy Walks refers to the late-night encounters between the living and the restless spirits of the dead. Locals will tell you that after nightfall, if you're out and about in Bridgetown, you might hear the footsteps of a duppy walking behind you, just out of sight, its presence felt but never fully seen. Some believe that the Duppy Walks are the spirits of people who died in violent or tragic ways, their souls not finding rest because they have unfinished business in the mortal world. But it's not just in the streets where these spirits haunt. Many of the older houses in Bridgetown are said to be haunted by duppies, especially those built on land with a tragic history. In these places, it's common to hear unexplained noises, knocks at the door, the sound of footsteps in the attic, or even faint voices calling out from dark corners. But the real danger comes when a duppy decides to show itself. There's an old saying in Barbados, a duppy will follow you home if you're not careful. It's believed that if a spirit becomes attached to someone, they will bring misfortune or illness to that person's family. To protect themselves, Barbadians will often carry charms or protective herbs like garlic and salt. It's said that a duppy can't pass through salt, and the scent of garlic will make them turn away. Some even place crosses around their homes to keep the duppies at bay. Another infamous duppy legend comes from the area around Garrison Hill, just outside of Bridgetown. Locals claim that a cursed old slave burial ground sits beneath the hill. After nightfall, people who ventured too close to the hill report hearing strange noises. The sounds of chains dragging on the ground, faint whispers calling their names, and at times, glowing lights that appear to hover above the graves. Many people believe these lights are the spirits of the dead trying to find their way back home. Others say it's the duppies of slaves long forgotten, still searching for justice. In some parts of the island, the duppy is also associated with vampiric qualities. The spirit, which can shape-shift into a shadowy figure or even a small animal, is said to drain the life force of the living. People who live in areas with a high concentration of reported duppy activity are often warned to be cautious when going out at night, as it's believed that the duppies may target vulnerable individuals. But what makes the duppy especially terrifying is that these spirits are often tied to specific places, haunting locations tied to trauma, injustice, or violence. One such place is the old slave fort near Bridgetown. The fort, which has been abandoned for years, is still said to be plagued by restless spirits. Some believe that duppies of the enslaved who died in the fort continue to roam the area, cursing anyone who dares to enter. To this day, those brave enough to venture into the fort report feeling chilled to the bone, as if the spirits of the past are watching, waiting to make their presence known. So the next time you find yourself walking the streets of Bridgetown, especially at night, Keep your eyes peeled and your senses sharp. The duppy might be closer than you think, watching, waiting, and ready to follow you home. But remember, a duppy doesn't take kindly to the living, so always show respect to the spirits of those who came before us, especially when walking the haunted streets of Bridgetown, Barbados. Our journey now takes us to the heart of Cuba, specifically to its vibrant capital, Havana. Known for its colorful streets, lively music, and rich culture, Cuba has long been a place where tradition and the supernatural intertwine. While Havana may be famous for its beauty and history, there's an ancient force hidden deep within its spiritual landscape that's both revered and feared by many. The powerful god Iku. Iku, or Iku, is an important deity within the Afro-Cuban religion of Santeria, which blends traditional African beliefs with Catholicism. He is the god of death, a figure who is responsible for guiding souls to the afterlife. However, unlike the peaceful connotations often associated with death in other cultures, Iku is both feared and worshipped in the spiritual traditions of Cuba. This is particularly true in Havana, where his influence is believed to be especially strong. Iku is often depicted as a dark, shadowy figure shrouded in mystery. He is said to be the messenger of death, but not in the sense of bringing about immediate harm. Instead, Iku is seen as the one who decides when someone's time on Earth is over. He is the final judge, and his presence signifies the end of a cycle, whether that be death of a person, a community, or even an entire era. His influence in Havana's folklore extends beyond the traditional understanding of death. Iku is also a god of transformation, helping souls to cross over, but also transforming the living in profound ways. Those who practice Santeria in Havana often make offerings to Iku, asking for protection, guidance, or the opportunity to pass from one phase of life to another. Iku's followers will leave candles, incense, and food offerings in places known to be sacred to him, especially near old cemeteries and abandoned sites in Havana's historic districts. But it's not just the living who seek Iku's favor. Many believe that those who have died may return as Iku's emissaries, or as spirits tasked with delivering messages from the other side. But don't be fooled. Iku is not a god to be taken lightly. While some seek him for spiritual growth and protection, others fear the power he wields, for he is also believed to be a trickster, sometimes misleading, sometimes taking more than what was offered. There are countless tales in Havana of people who, after invoking Iku, have found their lives inexplicably altered. Strange accidents, unexplained illnesses, or the sudden loss of wealth or loved ones are just some of the curses attributed to his mischievous ways. Many in Havana avoid calling on Iku unless absolutely necessary, knowing that sometimes, when you ask for a favor, the price may be more than you can pay. One particularly chilling legend in Havana revolves around an old abandoned church near the outskirts of the city. It's said that the building, long neglected, was once a site of rituals dedicated to Iku. Rituals that involved sacrifices and blood offerings to appease the god of death. People who have dared to venture into this church after dark report hearing strange noises, chanting, moaning, and even the sensation of being watched by unseen eyes. Some claim they've seen dark shadows moving within the church's walls or heard whispers promising that Iku is waiting to offer his judgment. One haunting tale comes from a local priestess who once tried to summon Iku in this very church. Desperate to communicate with the spirits of the dead, she performed a ritual that she believed would allow her to speak directly with Iku. But things did not go as planned. The night of the ritual, the priestess vanished without a trace. Her followers say that when they returned the next morning, they found nothing but a small pile of ashes in the center of the altar. There was no body, and there was no trace of the priestess herself. Some believe she was claimed by Iku, taken into the underworld as payment for daring to invoke the god of death in such a dangerous manner. Stories like these are why many Cubans are both fascinated and terrified by the presence of Iku in their lives. To some, he represents the inevitable end of life, the natural progression of all things. But to others, he is a constant reminder that death is never far away, and that the spirits of the departed may be watching, waiting, and influencing the living world in ways we can't always understand. So while you may visit Havana to experience its rich culture, history, and beauty, remember that beneath the surface lies a spiritual world that's much darker. The god Iku, along with the spirits of the dead, has a stronghold here, guiding souls, testing the living, and leaving behind stories of transformation, misfortune, and the unknown. Our final stop takes us to the island of Trinidad, where the swamps are home to some of the most terrifying voodoo legends. Known as the Voodoo Swamps, this area is said to be a breeding ground for dark magic and supernatural creatures. The swamps are vast and treacherous, filled with murky waters and dense vegetation. But it's not just the swamp itself that's haunting. It's the spirits said to dwell in its depths. Legend has it that the sequoiant, a blood-draining spirit, prowls the swamps, taking the form of an old woman by day and a terrifying, flame-eyed creature by night. The sequoiant is known for preying on the weak and feeding off of their blood while they sleep. Now, if you venture too far into the swamp, you might hear the sound of her footsteps, soft at first, but growing louder as she draws near. Locals claim the swamps are cursed, and if you disturb them, you might find yourself the next victim of the sequoiant, or worse. The curse of the swamp will follow you home. As we've seen today, the Caribbean is a land filled with ancient and powerful spirits. Spirits that have haunted these lands for centuries, their influence still felt in the places where they once thrived. From Haiti's voodoo temples to the sequoiant of Trinidad, these sites are not just physical locations, but spiritual realms where the boundary between life and death, the seen and unseen, is thin. So the next time you find yourself on one of these haunting islands, remember, there are places where the spirits still walk among us, and they might just have a story to tell you. Thank you for joining me on this spine-chilling journey through the Caribbean's most haunted voodoo sites. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, leave a review, and share To the Spirit with everyone who loves exploring the unknown. Until next time, keep your eyes open, your heart brave, and your spirit ready, for the world of the supernatural is never too far away. I'm Peter, and you've been listening to the Spirit.
To the Spirit
Podcast.
Supernatural Science
Aliens. I'm ghost.
Psychic Mystic
Spirits.
Divine Source
Heaven.
The Dead. It's magic.